Matt Lukesh, my friend.
Keoni.
Thank you for joining me.
No problem.
I want to talk to you, and I always have a great time talking to you, but specifically, I think there's an opportunity here for me to know more about you growing up, your personal life. We've spent a lot of time together.
Yes.
I don't even know when I met you, but I know it was probably 7 years ago.
I've been trying to think about that. I know I was thinking about that on the car ride tonight. We met, I'd say, a year or two before I moved out here, which we moved here in December of 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
So
I've known you 10 years then.
we're approaching.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
awesome.
when I tattooed you on the guest spot.
Right.
Yeah.
And Josh had told me, my friend Josh Fields has told me at this point in time, hey, there's this guy, good friend of mine. You want to get tattooed by him. When he comes and does a guest spot, like, he's the type of guy that you want to have your work. So I was really, really stoked about it. And when we met, we decided on Tesla, Nikola Tesla. And I knew right away, once this thing was done, that I was dealing with, and you will brush this off and be very humble, but it's a very experienced, higher level artist who took what they did very, very seriously, because on the other arm, I had a portrait. I had a portrait of the Statue of Liberty, which I actually liked. I liked the placement of it, I guess.
Okay.
What I didn't like about it is that it took like 24 hours to do the portrait of
And
Statue of Liberty.
how many sittings?
I want to say 4 or 5.
Oof.
Yeah. And it was just over and over. Oh, I need to come back and touch this up over and over again. And what you did is you went, essentially, to me, zippity doo dah. There's a beautiful portrait on you, and that portrait to this day, I still get people going, "Oh, Tesla!" It's like clear as
It's
day.
good that I'm just surprised people know.
Not all of them.
Right.
9 out of 10 of them say it's something else.
Is that your grandfather?
Is that Abe?
Yeah.
Is that Abe Lincoln?
Yeah.
I had something. And here's the other thing about that: when people come at me and guess, and they say, "Hey, that's Tesla, right?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I'll have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll have a conversation with the people that don't think it's Tesla, but some of the shit that they think it is.
Yeah.
The people.
Right.
I've had Edison. I've had Lincoln.
Yeah.
I've had just like random people guessing somebody that came from the past because he had a mustache.
Mark Twain before he went white.
Yeah, Charlie Chaplin.
Yes.
Do you remember Chaplin's mustache? It don't look anything.
It's a little shorter. It's not Hitler.
But so that's when we met. That was 10 years ago.
Yes.
And then you moved 2 years later.
Yes.
And started tattooing at the Platinum Rose. So we've had a lot of time in that. We've had at least 170 hours in each other's presence, right?
Easily.
Which we'll talk about that in its own experience. But what I'm interested in is Little Lukesh.
Little Lukesh.
Because the older I get, the more fascinating I find my younger self, because I can't identify with my younger self. There's certain things, but the person I was when I was young is so different than the person that I am now, that it's kind of interesting to go back and look and go, how did I connect the dots and get to where I am now?
Right.
How could I be so different, but that's the same person, the perspective, the journey.
How much more of your youth do you recall once you had kids? Not to divert this, but
once I had kids,
yes.
I don't feel like I remember anymore.
No.
I feel like sometimes as I'm watching Ronan grow right now, he's 14.
Right.
Horrible time.
Oh yeah.
Horrible.
Oh yeah.
One of the worst times.
Easily.
And I think that there's this misconception, or people, they kind of get out of adolescence and they remember the fun things and they repress the shitty things. And they remember the more positive elements of this. But I remember it as a very confusing, depressing.
Oh yeah.
A very lonesome feeling time in my life. And I had friends.
Right.
Like I wasn't ultra loner, but there were times I definitely felt like I was, and we moved around a lot. So I never really was an extrovert. I was always kind of like to myself and kept to myself. And now I actually appreciate that, even though I can't recognize that anymore in what I do. I'm around people all day. But what are your earliest memories of yourself and who you were as a boy?
Okay.
And that might just be family.
Yeah. Let's see. I grew up in northern New Jersey, which was predominantly rural and woodsy. Our backyard was directly tied in with state park property. So
That's nice.
it's nice, and it's not what everyone thinks New Jersey is. I mean, yeah, Jersey's earned its reputation in certain areas, but I lucked out and grew up around nature, which was, I can tell now, very important. But at the same time, kind of out in the middle of nowhere, we were still only about 30 miles from New York City. So you had the best of both worlds there. I couldn't say an earliest memory, but there was very little to do at that age. I had a sister who was a year and a half younger than me. There were no kids my age on the gravel road we grew up on. So the options were play with my sister, which wasn't going to happen. Wander in the woods, even at a very young age, which looking back now as a parent myself, I don't know what the hell my parents were thinking of. Yes. No! Yeah. I mean, bear country.
Yeah.
And it didn't mean shit to me as a kid. In that sense, I was kind of fearless. Now, I wouldn't even go back there.
Have we talked about Missing 411 now that we're in the woods?
Missing 411?
Yeah, the documentary.
Oh, no.
Okay,
no.
We'll talk about that later.
Another time. Chapter 2. So I think with that solitude, which I had no issue with, really, I think that's probably where the nucleus of art came into the picture easily.
Like in what way? So just the way you saw the world?
Probably. I'm sure there's some genetics. If any art skill was passed down to me, it was easily from my mom.
How so?
And I get her humility too. I think she was always an artist. She came from a family of artists. Okay. Everyone, her brothers and sisters are all gifted people in many different ways. So I think there was a little bit of that. Everything that's pleasantly wrong with me, everything bizarre about me, my sense of humor, I get that from the old man. So creativity in a general sense. At the early age, mom was a stay-at-home mom, which made me a mama's boy, which I have no shame, no issue with whatsoever. I remember watching a lot of Bob Ross on PBS at home.
God.
And I remember saying to my mom, "Oh, I buy paint. I want to do this." And I think I was not even 7 maybe. And I don't remember the outcome. It wasn't pleasant, but I remember vaguely trying to keep up with him. And this is before a VCR came into the house or anything like that.
Sure.
You can't pause. This isn't YouTube. It's trying to keep up with the guy that's done this a million times and he's on autopilot.
Like when you're listening to the radio, trying to hit record when your song comes on.
Oh,
because all you have is cassettes.
Yes. It's like, come on. It was
oh shit! I missed the first 15. Who gives a shit?
Come on! It was number 2 last week. Come on, it's gonna be on. And and it sucks if the song has a lot of instrumental in the beginning because the DJ jerk off's just gonna be talking over it anyway.
There's something. Doesn't that we have all the bounty of convenience, modern conveniences. Is that why you think there's a resurgence to things like vinyl? Because there's more of an appreciation when you limit your exposure to it. Like if you didn't hear that hit song and you had to make a trip to the mall and pay ridiculous fees to buy a CD, you appreciated that song more. But if you have Apple Music, and you can just get all the songs.
I think it goes even before CDs. Like I remember, like you can name, if you were to name any cassette that I owned as a kid, I could tell you name the song, I'll tell you what side and what number on that side. And I used to remember song titles by name and stuff. And then once the CD came around,
number,
it was like, oh, track 4.
Yep. You're right.
so already it's starting to lose its immense magic. You know?
The anticipation.
I don't know if that's why people are going back to vinyl. I think, you know, that crowd could be split in so many different ways. There's people that have never moved past vinyl.
Right. That are just happy that it's
right. They're still in their garage. And then there's all the young people trying to do what the prior generations did, just to feel retro and all that bullshit.
Yeah. That's a thing too. Yeah.
I only recently, actually, I'd say maybe 3 or so years ago, I started collecting vinyl.
Yeah.
Out of the blue almost. And at first it was very specific. I was like, okay, I only want to buy vinyl of things that had historical importance in my life.
Sure.
And
the big ones.
Yeah. And it was like, okay, one thing I had to buy, Sgt. Pepper's by the Beatles, because that was the first thing I learned to read. It was Mom's open gatefold of the record. Of course, you could recite the lyrics, but it was a minor achievement.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, I remember my first cassette being The Police's Synchronicity. Got to get that on vinyl. And, you know, so on and so forth. And I tracked down some really hard to find shit that my dad would listen to when I was growing up, which was great. And then
I bet just to put that on.
What's that?
I bet just to put that on and hear that would take you back.
That was the one thing. Well, yeah. The one thing I had to track down was a 4 record set of Fats Waller, and it was the same exact boxing packaging that they had, and that's an early memory. I remember listening to that stuff when I was 4.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the same year. I remember the morning after John Lennon was assassinated, because I woke up to my mom just devastated. Where was I going with all this? Oh, but then I started going, oh, well, this band I listened to already, they're putting out a new album. Am I going to buy the CD? Am I going to be the asshole that just listens to it free on Spotify? Or am I going to buy it on vinyl? Especially bands like Tool or any band that has amazing, beautiful artwork and packaging.
Yeah.
I want the big 12 by 12.
Yeah.
You know? And
I remember you talk about the packaging.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, my brother James listened to Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden and Guns N' Roses. And when you pulled out a cassette, even a cassette at the time in the 80s, you had all this awesome artwork. Mm-hmm. Women's breasts out in the Guns N' Roses insides, all this shit. Yes. And then you had Eddie. You had all this really sick ass art that kind of was lost in this digital evolution.
It's I think the same way about movie posters. How often now, when you look at a movie poster for, it doesn't matter, it's just a cast of people. Yeah. On the front. There's no artwork, no imagination. Same thing with especially the horror ones. It's like, okay, there's a superimposed bad guy face in the back. There's a girl with an axe and her tits hanging out. It's the same thing. It's it's disappointing. Yeah. It's disappointing.
So you were near New York City. How often?
30 miles. Yeah.
How often did you get to go into the Big Apple?
We didn't go super frequently. I've been to every major museum in there, which was, you know, phenomenal.
Do you think that contributed to your artistic
It had to.
Pursuits?
Yeah, I mean, both my parents were teachers growing up, so anything artistic, literature, they met through drama. So there was that presence of creativity and the arts at all times. But yeah, and we wouldn't take frivolous family vacations. It would be like, okay, let's go into New York. Let's go to the museums. Let's go to the Bronx Zoo
to learn things.
Yeah.
Man, what a crazy blessing that is.
It is. It is
taken for granted. I feel like by a lot of people.
By a lot of people, yes. No, I'm very appreciative of it. As much as I don't like New York City now, you know.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I'm really appreciative of that perspective with my mom too, because my mom was always very, very much putting forth the message, hey, I want you to know.
Mm.
I want you to know everything. I don't want you to assume.
Right.
Because what I tell you is what is. I want you to go shape your own perspective and experience things in the world. And that is something I cite almost every single day to somebody. Thankfully for my father, I have this. Thankfully for my mother, I have this. What did I want to talk to you about? So as a youngster, you're growing up in the wilderness, or near the wilderness.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it was. Bob Ross.
Yes.
How many artists did he inspire? How many artists that are, around your age or my age now that are kind of just coming into their own level of mastery did Bob Ross?
Our age bracket?
Or I'm just in general.
Well, I mean, there's another thing that's come back around, back in our age bracket. Yeah. Bob Ross was, no one really, I mean, people knew that weird guy with the afro and all that stuff, but
Pretty Little Trees.
But it was PBS, not a lot of people watch public broadcasting.
They don't.
No. But now, at the studio, we have Bob Ross mints. We have a Bob Ross bobblehead, not a bobblehead, what are the fucking things called?
A bobblehead would be epic, though.
It's not a bobblehead, but it's the Pop Funk action figure.
Okay.
As a goof, when my parents visited, they gave me an early birthday present, and they have a Bob Ross like plush thing now. So Bob Ross is everywhere now.
Oh, he's in the culture.
Well, now
people know it.
Yeah, decades and decades too late. He had to have inspired so many people, and not so much landscape painting necessarily, but just I think the thing I like most about watching him, I mean, there's that magic of, holy shit, where'd that mountain come from?
Yeah, creation.
Which, and if now where I am, I watch it because it's on Netflix now. So I'll occasionally, if I have nothing to watch, I'll just to listen to his voice and his chill. And
so meditative.
Yeah. And I definitely emulate him anytime I have to tattoo landscape stuff. I don't need a photo. If you want a mountain on your arm or something,
you just see it.
I'll draft it directly on, but it's all the same. I just think about the palette knife. I think about the fan brush and all this shit, and I just emulate that.
That's mind blowing to me.
But I think the best part of watching that show was, to me, though I haven't painted in a few years, it's the process I'm more in love with than the outcome. Like once a painting's done, it's out of my life. I mean,
it's done.
It's done. Yeah. It's that time, that very spiritual time that's more valuable than the product.
Yeah. Would you say that in the beginning of your journey, maybe you thought it was the product? Like,
of course,
as you're establishing your skill, you're going,
yes.
My goal is that someday I'm going to create this masterpiece, but the masterpiece is the collection of time and the growth in that time.
I think you're spot on.
Yeah. The same thing applies to me in martial arts, because when I got into martial arts, it was to learn to defend myself, to basically to know that I could handle myself, because I was very insecure.
Yeah.
And I thought there was like this place that I would get. Maybe it was black belt.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or there's some kind of accreditation. And then I found out it wasn't. And through the process of martial arts, you get better, and then you get your ass kicked, and then you get humble again, and then you get better, and then you think your shit doesn't stink for a minute, and then somebody brings you back down to earth. This might happen in the world of art when
Absolutely.
I go, oh man, I'm really proud of this piece, and then I look at somebody else's and you're like, oh shit, they just owned me on this.
Yeah.
I got to bump up
all the time.
So then I realized that like there is no peak here. What this is it's a set of mountains, and the further up you get the mountain, the better your perspective, the more you can see.
Sure.
But there is no end goal if you're really an artist. There's just this constant chase, this constant improvement. Well,
that reminds me, one question I get asked all the time tattooing is, what's the best tattoo you've ever done? What's your favorite tattoo you've ever done?
Do you say the last one?
No, I always tell them it hasn't happened yet. Because when I get to the point where, hey, that's the crowning jewel, that's where I just sell my shit and move on to the next thing,
Yeah, it should be forever.
Yeah.
I think so. So as a child, when did you decide, or when did you really get serious about art? When were you like, hey, this might be a life passion of mine?
Come on. A life passion?
Well, like, yeah, like you because you do what you love to do, you get to kind of make your own schedule.
I can answer as an adult. I can't answer for that 7-year-old kid.
Okay.
But 7 years old, yeah, still same scenario, just a sister, the woods, drawing, maybe some GI Joes if my parents could afford them, because they were on a double teacher salary. And what?
And they're awesome. GI Joes were awesome.
Yes, they were. And let's see, at that time, I was really always big into Star Wars, always big into Raiders of the Lost Ark. So 7 years old, I had also just seen my very first horror film, which was, oh, damn, it's going to bother me. Vincent Price, House of Wax.
Okay.
So horror, all that stuff. So by 7, I was emulating what I saw in Raiders of the Lost Ark or Star Wars. Do you recall, you're just a few years younger than me, there was a magazine called Famous Monsters of Filmland?
No.
Okay.
I was a Fangoria.
Well, this was pre-Fangoria.
Okay.
Yeah, same principle, but it really had a lot of Universal classic kind of stuff in there. And my parents bought me an issue, and it was the issue that covered American Werewolf in London.
Oh.
Fast forward 1 year, Rick Baker, that did all that artwork, did the video makeup for Thriller.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're bringing in horror into everything.
Music.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the 3rd grade, 8 years old. Yeah, I was a Michael Jackson fan, 101, and I was ridiculed for it.
Really?
Yes.
Is that geography? Is that because
I think so.
Because we in the Midwest, man, that we were talking about cassettes.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only cassette I ever ruined.
Okay.
Was Bad.
Was he? Oh, well, yeah, you're younger than me.
Yeah.
Thriller was my.
No, Thriller was the shit.
Yeah.
And Thriller was one of the vinyls that my mom had, and
Yeah.
I saw Thriller, and she had Off the Wall, and I was like, "What's this?" And so I listened to Thriller the first time on vinyl, and when I heard Vincent Price, I was like, it was like a magic moment. I was like, "Holy shit!"
No, this
is beautiful.
And then you look at the video, which was a short film compared to videos today, which
nobody had ever done that before in music.
Yeah, no, I was given a lot of shit for that, and I remember Christmas of 3rd grade, I got Prince's Purple Rain cassette, and I got a T-shirt, and I wore that shirt first day back from Christmas vacation, excited, and I got shit for that too.
Like what kind of shit?
No, like nothing blatant was said, but it was the strong vibe that, wow, I listen to black artists.
Really?
That's kind of the vibe I got.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else you could have listened to back then.
Yeah,
that was the biggest stuff, you know.
Well, Jackson was
Yeah.
superstar.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, off the charts. So what age are you when this is going down?
That was 8. 7 or 8 years old is when I started doing all this drawing stuff. So I was emulating horror and those great movies that just inspired creation.
So about your current career, tattooing.
Yes.
When did that become a focus? What was the span in between 7, 8?
Oh, that was a long time.
So what happened after 8? What was Matt Lukesh up to between then and tattoo?
I kept doing that stuff, but then shortly after that, that's when my dad started buying me Mad magazine, which hugely inspired me to get away from the weird, creepy stuff and just cartoony,
diversify a little bit.
Yes. So between that and Gary Larson's The Far Side. That and
Name
also hey, I don't know any of these people. I'm not looking for a free shirt or anything.
No, but
these were like
Mad magazine.
This is my.
I feel like you say Mad magazine now, and what age group and under has no idea what you're talking about?
Most.
Most, right?
Well, and that's the sad thing is 2 years ago, my dad bought my kids a subscription to Mad Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
They love it.
Do they?
They do love it. But then this past year, Mad officially said any issues that come out now, it's going to be recycled material because no one's writing anything new anymore. So Mad's slowly on its way out.
That's so
It's sad. It's very sad. But
really sad.
I have many great memories of.
Do they still do the trifolds?
Yes.
Fuck.
Yes.
That bums me out.
Yeah.
Well, sign of the times,
Mhm.
I guess. So, what are you doing? Are you like for work? What are you doing during this time after or through high school or after high school?
Oh, you mean artwork?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I don't
Or-
want to talk about work.
Well, I also would like to know what you were doing in terms of shitty work because I
Okay.
did some shitty work too.
Okay, I'm gonna move along instead of going year 1, year 2 because this will be longer than Spud's podcast if I keep it up. Quintessential moment, and this is that artsy aha moment, not the band, but that definitely correlates to where I am today.
Okay.
And I just recently wrote the guy that was responsible for this on Facebook and made his fucking day by sharing my feelings of this. Fast forward to seventh grade, 12, where my son and daughter are 12 now. So this is really familiar territory.
Mm-hmm.
It was last period. It was study hall. The two metalhead dirtbags, quote unquote, of the time. The one guy.
Metalhead dirtbag.
Well,
what are you want, them metalhead?
Well,
dirtbag?
yeah. I mean,
dude, I know.
If you have a mullet,
yeah,
and a jean jacket,
Mhm.
yeah. And the two guys that were in my study hall, one was a bully. I'm not going to give him a name. He came up to me, because the teacher yelled at him that there was no brown paper bag cover on his book. So he had to do that. Did you guys do that here?
we did, and
Okay.
that was so weird.
It was weird.
It was to protect the book, right?
It's to protect the book.
Right.
But when people start seeing that you're the artist of the grade, it's your job without pay
to do
to
covers.
decorate this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the guy goes, wrapped it up and handed it to me. He goes, I want you to draw this. I forget. He handed me a cassette.
Yeah.
He said, it's got to be done by the end of the period. So, scribble, 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 do this quick, sweating, it's like 3:00 high, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Knock it out. Bell rings, about to head to the bus. And the other guy with him, a friend, Mike Hamill, I'll use his name. He said to me, he goes, hey, can you do me a favor? Here's my history book. I want you to draw this album cover on it, have it done by Monday. And I'm like, okay. The cassette was Iron Maiden's Peace of Mind. Up until this point, I think the only thing I was listening to was like U2's Joshua Tree.
Mm-hmm.
Safe stuff. I got home that afternoon, started drawing the cover. It's Eddie in the padded cell.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat there and I said, I wonder what this shit sounds like. And I put it on, and the rest is history. So that opened up.
That was an aha moment for you.
Yeah. And then that just turned me on to every other great band of the time.
Right.
And all the affiliated artwork, between Derek Riggs doing all the Iron Maiden stuff and Pusshead, who did all the skull work for the old Metallica
Mm-hmm.
stuff. That just.
So you think a lot of your inspiration, you would say, is music and art and the integration of both?
Tied together.
That's
Definitely.
awesome.
Definitely.
So when did tattoo come into the picture?
Okay, fast forward. Let's see. 12.
You do nothing but book covers in local schools for
in high
of
school.
3 or 4 years.
Yes. Yeah. Middle school and high school weren't great socially or emotionally, like most people. Yes.
Yeah,
I don't need to go into.
Most people look back, even people that were popular look
Mhm.
back and go, like this girl Megan, that I went to school with, that we were just talking
Mhm.
about. She was like, well, people tell me that I was popular, but I didn't really feel popular.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I think that's the way everybody feels in high school.
That's interesting.
Not everybody. Most,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the really popular girls get pregnant that first summer after high school.
They do,
Yes,
and
yes.
the jocks are full of beer. In
Beer,
3 to
yeah,
4 years
yeah.
with the belly and the whole.
And if they
9
didn't
yards.
twist their ankle, they would have been in the NFL.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's. I think about this irony with me because in my situation, there was a part of me that wanted to play sports,
Right.
but I was just too much. I was too insecure
Okay.
to play sports. And the reason was because I didn't want to get on a team sport, which is basically what they all were, and let people down and be the guy that fucked up.
Right.
And on the individual sports, I had no work ethic at the time. So I tried wrestling and it just was 2 days.
Right.
Yeah. In 2 days, I was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And my wrestling coach in middle school, Mr. Connor, I went up to him. I told him this. I'm like, hey, I just don't think this is for me. I didn't think it was for me because I was tired. Because I didn't want to get up at 5 a.m. and actually work and have people throw my ass around a room.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I think you need to just stop being a little pussy and go line up with. And that's what he said. That was the word that he used. And I was so upset. I was, I was upset. It's because there was truth to it. Because there was truth in what he was saying. He might not be giving me this message as politically correctly as they would expect him.
Oh, he would have been fired today.
Fired.
Yeah.
But it hurt because there was truth in what he said. And it's only ironic now that, I own a gym and I decided to teach myself how to fight and then teach others. That shit just blows my mind all the time. But so tattoo.
Yes.
How did tattoo? Was that an organic thing?
That was a real slow evolve. When I was in high school, I was the 3 or 4 kids that were daring enough to get tattooed. It's not like it is today where everyone's doing it.
Where they'll take you out of state to do it.
Right. I know who you're talking about.
So do I.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yes.
Just wait, see what comes back from Kansas. Okay. So I drew tattoos for people, but I had no knowledge of them because anything I had seen tattoo wise, it was the same faded blue-green sailor shit, biker shit. I didn't see art in it.
So when you said tattooing, you had people telling you that they took your designs?
Oh yeah. No, they would come up to me in art class saying, hey, I'm getting a tattoo this weekend. Can you draw it for me? This is what I want. Oh, sure. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So you were in the
business before the business?
I guess so.
Okay.
But I was never interested in getting tattooed.
Okay.
Because from what I was seeing, it was like, well, who wants the same Black Panther? Who wants the same this, that? Fast forward into college. I got into college for art because I didn't take school very seriously. I didn't take SATs seriously, grades, none of that stuff. I didn't know it was in the cards that I had to go to college because my parents had been saving for this my whole life.
Shit. Okay.
So thankfully, because of my art and my art portfolio, I was able to get into William Patterson University solely because of my art skills. But again, I still didn't care. I was 18, I probably still wanted to be in a metal band or,
Yeah.
I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't care about anything. And did a semester and a half of art. And I said, screw this. I don't want to be told what to do. But I was 18 years old again. Thought I knew everything. But anything that I was taught in that semester and a half, I carry with me every day. It makes so much more sense when you're not, a know-it-all.
Did you have a good teacher?
I had a couple great teachers. Yeah.
That'll do
phenomenal teachers. And, but I left that, went into the English department because both my parents had English degrees. I like to write also at the same time. Didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then I eventually got the sensation, I want to get a tattoo. So I got my first tattoo when I had just turned 21, late bloomer for most. A week later, I got my second tattoo. A week after that, I got my third. So instantly, I was addicted.
What was your first one?
Across my shoulders, the text "Life feeds on life" from Tool.
Sure.
Yeah. My first.
That was relatively new then at that time.
What?
The first time, like the song.
Oh yeah, that's from Undertow.
Yeah. That was way back.
And I just love the concept that if you just keep repeating it, just like in the song, it's factual, it's deep. For a 21-year-old, it's deep shit.
For 4 words.
For 4 words. Yeah, that's 4. Of course, it's all covered up now.
Of course.
But
if life feeds on life.
But I instantly was, I was addicted to it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why. I think, I'm sure we've talked about it before. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm in for my therapy," you know, because there is something very therapeutic about it. If the 3 components are right. I refer to it as the Holy Trinity for me in tattooing. It's the right client, the right artist, and the right piece of art. There's nothing can break that. If you have those 3 things, it's going to be flawless for everyone involved. I dovetailed there. Oh, so I instantly got addicted. Still to date, post high school, I was still living in town, and friends would still hit me up. "Hey, I got to get a tattoo. Can you draw this? Can you draw this?" So eventually, over the course of the next 6 months or so, the guy that started tattooing me realized I was this outside source of art that was coming in at the same time.
Oh, shit. Interesting.
Yes.
The plot thickens.
So at that point, I was a little more interested in it. And I remember saying to myself, okay, if people want me to draw tattoos, I got to know what's doable. Because what I was drawing at that time was like hyper detailed,
fine line,
crazy,
feathered.
Yeah, that Depresso Kid shit where it's just like this, 1 micron pen and just too much shit. Stuff that shouldn't be tattooed. And I went to a convenience store, bought a bunch of tattoo mags, which was fun just because back then they were lined up right with all the porn mags because they were just as bad for you.
The subculture magazines.
Plastic wraps, everything. And I remember I want to find the issue again because it was so important, but there was a spread on a French artist, Stéphane Chaudesseg, and his work was holy shit, fine art.
Yeah.
This can be done. So that propelled my interest in it and stuff. So when I wasn't at school or I wasn't doing my phone job,
the pay the bills thing.
Yeah, that I did phone work for a check insurance company. So
sounds fun.
There was some interesting shit. I turned down a couple checks from really famous people.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet you get to see some interesting shit.
Well, we had some big clients, including a lot of dealerships, but also Tiffany's was one of our clients. So, if they got a high-end check, they call us. We run a credit report. Bombs. So my first fail, or not fail, the first famous person I had to knock into the dirt. I'm not going to mention her name, but she was in a movie in the science fiction world, and she was very attractive. And she did a series of movies where she was this attractive but dangerous alien.
I know who you're talking about.
You do? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, she didn't get like her $70,000.
You dialed it in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
And then I remember someone else had the luck of nixing Hillary Clinton.
Really?
Yeah. Anywho, boring job. But when I wasn't doing that or going to school, I found whatever excuse I could to hang out at that studio.
What was the name of the studio?
Say again?
Name of the studio? Do you remember?
Eagle Tattoo.
Eagle.
Yeah.
What do you think about Eagle Tattoo?
Oh, you prick. The guy I mentored who mentored me, his name was John Telford, Johnny Eagle for short. He was from Belfast, Ireland. Had done time with affiliations with the IRA, but he was also a member of a clean and sober bike club. So I was surrounded by a lot of tough fucking dudes who overcame some of the, the hardest things in life,
Kind
you
of,
know, drugs and
yeah,
alcohol.
flying
and
the
stuff like
straight
that.
and
Yes.
narrow, yeah.
So I always appreciated that.
That's cool.
I respected that a lot. So anytime I could, I'd become coffee boy. I knew what the guy drank, so I would hit up Dunkin' Donuts, stop there. Oh, I just brought you a coffee and just talk, small talk. I kind of weaseling my way in because occasionally he would say, "Hey, you ever consider doing this?" And at this point, I'm like, "Yeah, man. I got to think about it, this." And I was like, "Okay, this is like a test. This is Karate Kid. I got to show that I want this,
Well, this is a different time.
Yes.
I wasn't directly involved in the tattoo culture, but I remember I remember Josh, and I remember Hardcore Hank, and I remember that it was a pretty fucking wild place to be a tattoo shop, and there was crazy shit that went on after hours, and the hazing almost, you could almost call it. Back in the day, it was like if you were an apprentice, you were going to get shit on.
Yes.
Is that incorrect? I mean,
not my experience.
Okay.
But you're right though.
Now it's different because
now,
you can't hurt me.
Yeah. Well, not just that. Now you just go on eBay, buy a bunch of gear, watch videos on YouTube, and tattoo out of your fucking house.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Well,
you don't really.
That could be a whole episode.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people doing that in all arts and all cultures.
Yes.
I see it all the time in martial arts, but you don't really make it.
No.
You might fake it, but you're never, like, in my opinion, the greats of any art never got there because they fake it. There are some instances in history where people bullshit their way into high level positions, like Edison, and or they're very. I can't say he bullshitted his way. He was a resourceful person that used other people's talents, right? But you can't fake it in the arts. Like at a certain level, the highest level of peers are going to recognize if you're full of shit or not.
And I don't think it's even just faking it, because there are people out there that have remarkable art skills, and they can pick up that thing and do it. It's just the traditional apprenticeship. I hear less and less about it.
Yeah.
I didn't have the hazing that Josh did, but also, and I think strictly because I was under that umbrella of sobriety.
Yeah, that helps.
If these guys, like, if
they were drunk.
Oh yeah, yeah, it would have been bad. But eventually, I just stuck around long enough.
Yeah.
The guy said, "Do you want to do it?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "This is the apprenticeship fee." I'm like, "Okay." "Do I have to pay it all at once?" He goes, "No, you can pay me bit by bit." And I think a week later, I got rear-ended, car accident. It was considered totaled, got the insurance check. My buddy pulled out the rear, and here's my deposit for my apprenticeship.
Nice.
Yeah.
How long were you there?
3-year apprenticeship, and a little longer after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what, did you go somewhere else after that?
The boss and I had a falling out.
Okay.
Parted ways. I think there was I'd say probably a year incognito, doing it illegally.
Sure.
Yeah. And then
there's nobody tattooing illegally right now, I'm sure.
Oh no.
Now it's all legal.
No. Oh, sure. Sure.
Oh. Yeah.
I got to show you a photo when we have a second.
Okay.
Of something that came out locally.
We'll put that in the bonus.
Yes.
And we'll release it 50 years after we die.
And then I after a year of just, doing it, legally, I was like, I got to get back into a studio. I'm not going to grow this way. Then I jumped onto another team for only about a year. It was the first time I worked for somebody who was not a tattoo artist.
Oh.
Yeah, that kind of guy.
That can be tough.
Yeah.
I'm sure. How can they relate? How can they understand?
Just because you have tattoos and...
Doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, I'm not going to try shitting on this guy too, but let's put it this way. I was only there for about a year, and then 6 of us walked out on the guy the same night.
Ouch. Well,
everyone had enough.
That's clear.
Of being told what to do by someone who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah, go show us.
Yeah.
Yeah, take care. So what happened after that?
After that, let's see.
And is this a hard industry? Like, is being a tattoo artist and, owning a shop a pain in the
I
ass?
hate,
Not
that's
owning a
why
shop?
I don't own a shop now.
Just because of that?
Well, after that, I was ready to walk, because between falling out with the guy that taught me and then this shit, I'm like, why am I in this? If this is what I'm going to expect.
Right.
And then one of the guys from the team, Johnny Thief, I had a thing for Johnny's. He and I decided, well, I was only in this thing at that point, maybe going on somewhere into almost 7 years of tattooing. Way too young to own a studio. But with the experiences, I'm like, well, what am I going to do? So
see, and that's the difference, I think, because a lot of people now would go, I've been tattooing for 7 years. Now it's time for me to open a studio.
People don't.
But like, I feel like if you're,
I've seen 2 years.
If you're a true artist,
yes,
like yourself, you go, well, no, I need more. I need to be more. I need to be more confident that what I'm putting out there is what should be put out.
Right.
There. So I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, that's cool, dude.
But moving on.
Yeah. So Johnny and I decided, okay, where were we going to go? Because I had 2 non-competition agreements on me now.
Oh shit.
And he had the one from the same boss. So what do you have in mind? And he said, well, I used to live in Myrtle Beach, and South Carolina is lifting its ban on tattooing.
Ban on tattooing?
Oh yeah. When we embarked on that, South Carolina had
ban on tattooing. Holy
South
shit.
Carolina had just lifted the ban, and there was one more state that was still illegal, and that was Oklahoma.
Isn't the South supposed to be conservative and all about liberty?
Conservative? Yes.
No liberty? Well, I guess skin color's been an issue in the South at times.
Oh,
as well,
has it?
Yeah, well, that's what I've heard.
That's what
I live up here in Union Country. So
not that you would notice.
So you opened up.
Yeah.
Seppuku
Tattoo was the name of the studio.
Okay.
We shot for Myrtle Beach, but it was going to take forever. And unless you knew someone, what's up? You're mouthing.
I swear. When was this?
Well, we started Seppuku Tattoo 2005 in Savannah, Georgia.
Was there an internet presence?
Of course.
I swear I've seen shit on your studio.
I'm sure you have, but also Josh still has a lot of our old Seppuku stickers on his toolbox and stuff.
I know, but like I remember back in the day when I was going to hardcore.
Right.
And I was looking shit up on the internet.
Yeah.
And
I believe it.
I don't know.
No, you're probably right.
It just
because I mean the word seppuku and samurai and ronin and all that stuff.
Yeah. I know because I've read about it and I've read about that type of thing. But like Seppuku Tattoo just triggered something in me, and I know I've seen that sticker.
Okay.
But I swear I remember looking back through and going and being impressed probably by what I saw.
Cool.
Even though you were quite a bit younger in your career, I suppose at that time. That's 7 years.
Well, let's see. Yeah, my math might not add up. That's not my strong suit, but that was 2005.
Okay.
So that was 16 years ago.
And that would have been about the time I was getting work done.
Right.
At him. So how long were you there?
We were in Savannah, Georgia for 5 years.
You like it there?
Hit and miss.
What was miss?
What was miss? The fact that it still felt like 1964. Though
big miss.
Yeah. Though the population was 60% black. Nothing outright was ever said, but that powder keg was there.
Tension down there. I felt that. I went down there and went to Memphis and went to some places down there, and it's like everybody's nice and Southern hospitality's a thing, but like there is this ominous undertone that I can't even really explain there. It's weird.
I mean, I've met some amazing people down there, and I'm still in touch with a lot of great people. But a majority, that Southern hospitality is bullshit.
Really?
It is when you visit, especially if you're in the historic districts. Savannah's a beautiful city. A couple blocks the wrong way, it's reality.
Just like everything else?
Yes.
What were the hits?
The hits? That was probably a time where we actually started hitting the tattoo convention circuit and started sending a lot of press kits out. So we were getting, at the time, what was very important was acknowledgement publishing,
in magazines,
trophies at shows and stuff,
Mhm.
stuff that now doesn't mean a thing to me.
Does it mean a thing? Is it important? Like
No, to me now, no.
no.
If you want to see my tattoo trophies, they're in the garage right now.
So it's more for you. Would you say your work?
What's
like,
that?
It's more your work now. Like the trophy, the most important thing is like
Making the
the
client
actual-
happy. No, the client happy, not even the artwork.
okay,
Making the client happy.
just satisfied
Yeah.
customer.
Yeah.
Okay. So with Seppuku, you started hitting the tournament. You started probably
Tournament.
or the
Convention.
the convention.
I'm not a
circuit,
fighter, baby.
The tournament. But you probably started getting noticed
Yeah,
by more people in the tattoo
to a
community.
degree. Yeah.
When did you leave Seppuku, and what was the reason for that? Or
Well, let's see. We did 5 years in Georgia.
Mhm.
In that time, Lee and I got married. Kids were born. And
Major life changes.
huge life changes. And knowing, I think at the time, Georgia was 48th in education.
Mm.
So I was like, I don't want to raise my kids here. I think Johnny was getting tired of it as well. To be thoroughly honest, like it was doing damage to who I was. My tolerance for people was starting to diminish, and it wasn't strictly a racial thing or anything of that nature, but everyone down there was lazy, not laid back, like reverse lazy.
Mhm.
And that was just sucking the life out of me. And I'm talking about the locals.
Yeah.
We were lucky to have Hunter Army Airfield, which was just 15 minutes away from the studio, and tattooed so many amazing soldiers in those 5 years. And this was at the height of the Iraq
Sure.
and Afghanistan. And I made some of my favorite clients of all time were a lot of military guys. And of course, they're from all over the country. So you're bringing more culture to the area than.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You get kind of a magnifying glass of different
Yes.
people.
Yeah. But so we did 5 years there, and we're like, let's go back up north. All our non-competition agreements were void. And interestingly enough, we moved back up north, like one town away from where I grew up.
Oh, okay.
And which really required no work to get that up and running, because
You knew.
Jersey guys were back in Jersey, and no one had to drive or fly down to Savannah to get work. And that took off very quickly.
Nice.
And I did that for about 3 years. And again, it was like New Jersey is a different animal than Iowa.
Culturally?
Yeah, culturally and mentally.
Would you say it's colder?
In an emotional sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if cold isn't. It's not cold. A lot of people say, "Oh, everyone from out east is an asshole." To a degree.
Do they?
Come on.
I mean, I don't, about New York, I've heard this. This
Yeah,
type
but
of
New
stereotype.
Jersey is like the.
People do talk about Jersey.
New Jersey is to New York as what Cousin Oliver was to the Brady Bunch.
Okay.
Sorry, kids, you're not going to get that reference either. But Keoni laughed. That's
Look
all that
it
matters.
up.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
I think we're a little harder
Okay.
because everything is go out there. It's very fast paced.
Faster lifestyle,
It's
yeah.
very fast. So I wouldn't say it's colder, but we don't have time to waste. That's why the drivers are nuts. We always got someplace to be, someplace to go. We're all lining ourselves up for a heart attack or a stroke. And as much as I enjoyed being out of the South and back north, I was like, this is gonna really wear me out.
Mhm.
And I was also at the point where I got tired of being a co-owner. I'm not focusing on the art as much.
Yeah. I've had a real problem with that
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a co-owner in this business.
Yeah.
And I love the art.
Mm-hmm.
And the time that I spend folding towels
Mm-hmm.
and cleaning out shitters with a whole roll of toilet paper, a whole roll twice.
Yeah.
And there's no poop in there. There's no pee. They're just some kid just
Oh, I
threw a
thought
whole
I
roll-
thought you were cleaning a bathroom with a roll of paper towels.
No.
Or toilet paper.
But like the type of shit that I have to deal with like
Yeah.
that, where
Yeah.
I'm pulling a wasted roll of toilet paper out of a shitter because a kid wanted to experiment.
You're an apprentice again.
Yeah, I know how to scoop shit out the best.
Yeah.
But the thing is, whether you are willing to do that or not,
Mhm.
like I'm more interested in studying. I'm more interested in practicing what I'm passionate about. More interested in martial arts.
Mhm.
And when I spend time folding towels,
Mhm.
paying bills, looking at this, checking this off, and crossing my T and dotting my I's, I'm not doing that.
Right.
I'm not practicing. I'm
No.
not tattooing. I'm not rolling. I'm not doing whatever I want to do. And so it's been really tough because I feel a loyalty to my team and to my business partner and everybody to continue to grow this thing. But I also know that there's this duality where the more I focus on business, the less I focus on the art itself. And like finding a balance there is its own job.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. I don't want to do it anymore.
It just came to me that the whole between being a boss and the art, whether it's what you do, whether it's I do, it's the whole difference between surviving and living.
Yeah, it makes sense. So when did you meet up with Josh? So you were up there for a few years.
Hunka. Josh and I met online.
Okay.
That's how we tell everyone the story. There was an online tattoo community at the time that was run by an artist named Joshua Carlton, who Josh and I both were friends with and really admired the guy's work. It was very, it really rang with a painter's approach, which something that both Josh and I share. And I guess we met on there, and anything he was posting, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Likewise, back and forth. And then eventually, I believe it was 2000. Oh, shit. My math might be off. Yeah, I think around 2010. I had just gotten back to Jersey, I think, from Savannah. And we were both going to be at the same convention, Hell City in Phoenix.
Hell City.
Yes. So I remember I was panicking that day because I was tattooing and painting live at that show. And all day Friday, I'm tattooing and all my painting gear has still not arrived. And I was just worn the fuck out.
Painting and tattooing.
Yeah. I only tattooed the first day of the show, but I painted live for the next 2 days. And I was just wrapping up my all-day tattoo, and there's this guy with tattoo work up to his chin, and he looked kind of psycho, California-looking guy. And I'm like, fuck, who is this guy? And he just like really deadpans me. He's like, you Matt Lukesh? I'm like, yeah. Josh Fields, hey man. And so we hung out a lot at that show and have so much in common artistically, and our vibe towards the tattoo community and art and tattooing and everything. So he had just opened Platinum Rose or was about to open Platinum Rose.
Yeah.
And that was in August of that year. A month later, I came out. It wasn't for a guest spot yet. I came out to get tattooed by him, and he had me stick around for a couple of days, and I just painted at the studio for a couple of days. I don't know if that's when I met you. Probably not.
No, it was later.
Yeah. But he tattooed me, and I knocked out a painting, as a welcome. What's it called? A housewarming gift for the studio.
Okay.
Because I know he was still just like, the phone was barely plugged in, so it was brand new Platinum Rose. And I had such a blast. He came out to my place, later on, and I worked on him on that visit, and he tattooed some people, and then he said, oh, you got to come out and do a guest spot. So the next summer, while my wife and kids are gone, which they usually are every summer, I would come out here. And, maybe that's when I tattooed you. Because I did 2 formal guest spots here. And then the third trip I did out here was the summer before moving.
That was the one.
Well,
I think that was. I feel like
the trip.
Because I
maybe,
feel like you came out and you did a guest spot, and then it was, I want to say like a year later, 9 months to a year later, maybe. My timing is shitty, but it seems like around that period, then you moved and relocated here.
Yeah, if I could remember what else I tattooed, the trip I tattooed you, then I'd probably have a better idea.
Yeah, but it was in that other location. It was over.
It was in the Marion location.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how did Josh approach you about, or did you approach him?
No, it was kind of a back and forth joke. I knew he wasn't gonna move out east. I mean, he just opened up a studio,
right?
And like jokingly be like, it'd be really cool if you would move out here and tattoo. I'm like, yeah, that could be cool, but I got this going on. And then I think it was my second trip out. I think he put like apartment finders and house finder rags, in my messenger bag and stuff, hinting. And we kept throwing back and forth the silly pipe dream, but after things just started converging, I was getting tired of being a boss. I was getting tired of Jersey. I just wanted, at that point, I said, I'm either going to quit tattooing because I'm not going to open up my own place and go solo. I'm going to be in the same situation, or I can work for someone I respect, which is hard to come by the older you get.
Sure.
But I was like, well, I've known Josh for a few years in person now and a little while later than that. And I started telling him what I was thinking and feeling, with wanting to get out of the East Coast. And he said, you're always welcome.
So the idea basically just permeated.
Oh, yeah. Naturally. Yeah, it was becoming more of a reality.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, thankful for that.
I'm thankful. Yeah. I'm thankful for that.
Did you, so when you moved to Iowa, what was, culturally, what was different about Iowa than South Carolina and...
well, okay, let's see here.
The East Coast.
Let's see. Well, I had a, a little bit of an introduction with those guest spots.
Yeah.
And, walking down the street, or we'd be walking, he would take me out to Mexican every night, or, getting coffee in the morning and everyone's saying hi. And I can tell they mean it. I can tell they mean it because I've already been schooled in the South. Everyone down there says hi, but I know you're full of shit because I'm a damn Yankee. You just want me to go back north. But here it seemed like, okay, got a real strong blue collar vibe, which I respect. And I would safely say, I think blue collar people appreciate tattoos more because it costs them more.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I dug that. I remember when Josh picked me up from the airport saying, hey, I'm sorry, it's rush hour. And we're still doing 50 on 380. I'm like, this isn't rush hour. I'm used to put it in park.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a huge culture shock. I think that prep of those summers leading up to it. And that was one reason I was like, schooling out here is fantastic compared to the East Coast and Georgia as well. It was just becoming a no-brainer, cost of living is realistic out here compared to Jersey, especially.
So would you say you've enjoyed living in Iowa?
Yes, generally, yes. I'm also of that mindset that you can put me anywhere as long as I'm working.
Yeah.
I'm too old to be looking for on the hunt for culture. I don't mind that to see a good show. I have to either go to Des Moines, Chicago, or
somewhere else. Make a little day trip out of it.
Yeah. You need to travel a little bit for culture.
Yeah.
But I don't
outside the U.S. too.
I've been outside the U.S.
But do you have to travel outside the U.S. to understand different cultures, or can you get it all in the U.S.?
No.
I was being facetious.
I know you were. I've met a lot of people in this state that have never left the state.
I know, and I think it's getting easier to travel, so more people are embracing the idea of the Airbnb. But like my grandparents never. My grandfather was in World War II, traveled all over the world, saw all kinds of horrible shit, came back to Iowa, and I think left his farm twice in like 35 years.
Yeah, but if I endured World War II on the front,
I know.
and got home safe.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I'm staying home.
I know why he stayed in the garden, and I know why he didn't leave very much. But man, I feel like, especially with as vocal as Americans are, maybe they should be more inclined to spend more energy instead of speaking online, going and visiting some different places.
That's a novel idea.
Getting some perspective,
Yeah.
maybe. So, you have this huge amount of work that you've done on my body, the Origin Project, and many other portraits that I get compliments on a daily basis. When I met you, I was just getting into business. I was just starting the gym and just kind of getting going. And you did some work with Tesla, and you had done the guest spot with me, but we had started talking about, Josh and I had started working on a bigger project. Right. And then the Origin Project kind of naturally happened.
Are you talking aside from the back piece?
Yes.
Was that the big okay.
Yes, okay. Yes. So the back piece we'd worked on it a little bit, but like my fascination with space and in the cosmos and the universe and unknown, the big questions, led to this idea. I looked at this, and Josh had kind of convinced me, because I'd watched this DVD at his place one time about that Gogwe put out, and Gogwe was talking about, if somebody comes in and asks me for a dragon that looks like a gecko, I'm gonna not want to do that. I'm gonna ask them if I can do like a claw or some shit. Yeah. Because it doesn't physically represent. And if you need a dragon, give me half of your body. And so Josh was going, hey, I want to do something big. Yeah. And I was, for the first time ever, going, hey, I think I want to do something big, because now I understand that dragon that I got here was a bad idea, because that's not what a dragon is. That's a dragon like nostril. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. And so then the Origin Project started coming up, where there's this huge plan to do this sweeping tale of the Big Bang all the way up to eventual darkness. And you signed on to do this, and I said, and I don't know if I'll edit this out if you don't want me to put this in, but I came to you and I came to Josh and I said, there's no way I can pay you what this is going to be worth. And I know what this is going to be worth. This is going to be worth tens of thousands of dollars. And you, without any hesitation whatsoever, went, no, pro bono. Yeah, I don't care. I'm really stoked about this project. I'm really interested in doing this and having this experience with you. And this was such a trip to me, because when I was a kid, I was one of those blue collar kids that had to save up for his tattoos. Yeah. And to have somebody look at me and go, somebody who didn't really know me that well at the time, and go, yeah, I'm just going to commit hours and hours of my time and my ink and my supplies and my shit, because I want to do a project. One, I was incredibly humbled by it, and I have gratitude every single day that I look at this and I appreciate it. But I wanted to thank you first and foremost, and I've thanked you before. Yeah. But it's such a special thing in my life to look back at a time when I was that blue collar kid, and I feel like I still am to a degree, but going, I'll never be able to get that, because I used to look at the tattoo magazines, and some of the tattoo magazines were the real artsy ones with the high level shit. And then some of them were just like huge collections. Yeah. It's
outlaw biker magazine.
Yeah. And I remember looking at the beautiful ones and going, wow, how lucky.
I gotta win the lottery.
Yeah. Or like, I just have to save until I'm 30. Yeah. And then I gotta get this. And so to fast forward and to be around 30, and not necessarily in a place of wealth, but surrounded by really great people that were like, hey, I want to experience this with you. It was just an amazing experience, and it still is. And to be able to represent, it's funny, I wore long sleeve. The funniest shit. Like, I'm usually trying to tear all my clothes off to show people.
Oh, you're saying for the video?
Well, it just happened that I wore long sleeve stuff, but every day I
He'll
go
show
out,
you.
Yeah, you can look it up.
He'll take it all off right in case he's.
I've done it before.
I know you have.
But I also see that as part of my responsibility to my artists for affording me that
Right.
generosity, because people are like, this is what people say to me: "Holy shit, when did you get that?"
Yeah.
Oh, I got it like 6 or 7 years ago. No.
It's so bright.
Yeah, I didn't know. Is it real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that
Can I
tattoos could
touch
even
it?
do that. So I have this propensity when people notice to go, oh, actually, because the first thing they see is the leg, and I go, actually, oh, there's this whole thing, and they're just, holy shit,
Right.
and they really are taken aback. Most of the time when I show people this, I can tell on somebody's face.
Yeah.
I've seen enough and met enough people to know when somebody's joshing you and bullshit. When people see this, their eyes get big.
Right.
And their whole horizon for what possibilities with tattoo completely improves. And the color is a big part of that. But I try to go out of my way to show them this.
Yeah.
And every single time, I'm not shitting you, daily, I'm in the convenience store. Oh, man, your tattoos look amazing, man. That's great. Well, here's the rest of them. Here's what it looks like.
Yeah.
And if you don't look like a total pain in the ass, I'll tell you where I got these.
Right. Right. Thank you. We appreciate it.
But a lot of the people that I train with have seen my stuff, and the people that Eric have competed alongside and stuff see our stuff and go, "Where'd you get that? Give me their number." Right. And that's a testament, really.
Well, you guys have definitely sent plenty of people our way.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When I find somebody who's loyal to me, like going back into my own tattoo story, I met Josh when I was 18, and I'd fucked up with tattoos, ignorant, and needed to cover some stuff up. So Hardcore Hank, the guy that he apprenticed under, did one of my pieces, and then Hank referred me to Josh, his apprentice. And Josh did work on me that's still on me. Josh worked that covered up since then. But I went, okay, here's this guy who's pretty fresh in the business. He's got some experience, but he's definitely not, of course, where he is now. But he's nice to me. He's fair to me. When somebody else set up an appointment with me to cover up my shit and then bailed out, he was there to set up a new appointment. And when I paid him the deposit, he was there to tattoo me. So since that time, ever since I started going to Josh consistently, I've sent all of my shit his way. Yeah. And now the only difference is I send it to the studio and him. Yeah. I send it to the Platinum Rose. And you know what? I hear people all the time talking about, oh, I want to get this fixed and I want to get this fixed. I never hear anybody that comes out of the Platinum Rose say that. Ever. Good. It's always
thank you.
It's always wonder, and one of the more wondrous recent things that I've seen is the amount of detail that you put into a tattoo of John Stamos. You tattooed
on Ron Mexico.
Yes,
that's his name.
Ron Mexico.
Ron Mexico.
Okay, so
we're not using his real name.
We won't reveal his true identity. Yes. But one of our mutual friends got. Kind of on a joke bet between you and Brent and himself, a John Stamos tattoo. And this John Stamos tattoo was meant to be a joke. Yeah. It was very small, right above his knee in a place that, and done in a way that could be easily covered up. Right. So he comes, he's like, I got the Stamos tattoo. And he shows it to me and I'm like, you can't cover that up. It's funny, right? Because it's the whole joke. Yeah. But that tattoo is small and incredibly detailed. Like you put a lot into that.
Well, that was funny because when I was talking to Mr. Mexico,
Ron,
he and I are tight enough. I can call him Ron. Yeah, I mean the whole reason why, because he knew why Brent was going to get it, and then Brent bailed last minute, And I had, in passing, told the story to Ron. And the next time I tattooed him, he was like, hey, do you think Spud would get pissed off if I got the Stamos tattoo? I'm like, yeah, probably. He's like, let's do it. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I'll do it for you for free because it's a ball bust. And if you want to get it covered up, I'll cover it up for free too. And I was initially going to try doing it very simplified.
Yeah.
But I was just a couple minutes into it, and I'm like, oh, fuck this. I'm getting this great blend. I'm going to...
Might as well.
Yeah.
When in Rome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And he told me too. He's like, it's not a big deal. It's pretty small, so I can cover it up. And I'm like, dude, you can't cover that up.
Well, that was the funny thing. Since we're not using his real name, he when he was letting the stencil dry, I'm like, you okay? And he said, yeah, I'm kind of nervous for this one. I'm like, oh, why is that? He goes, well, my wife is at a party right now and she's drinking, and she wants me to come hang out with her after I'm done getting this, and I got to show her. I'm like, okay. And
She'll love it.
He said, you want to come with me so she doesn't yell at me in front of a friend?
No, I don't.
And that's what I said to him. I said, no, you're on your own.
But look, you tell her, she's going to be upset.
But the next day he texted me, he goes, I showed her, and you've made my marriage so much happier.
That's right.
And then he also sent a video of her saying that he's not allowed to get it covered up.
Little did he know it would be a marriage enhancement.
Mm-hmm.
Show me Stamos.
Let me see that Greek
again.
goddess. God, not goddess.
Thank you, Stamos. Once again, still the man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. So, how long have you been at Platinum Rose now?
Platinum Rose.
Since we have no sense of time.
That's okay. So I moved here December 13. So I started 2014. So almost 7 years.
That went quick.
Yeah.
What do you want? Well, now looking back at your journey, how old are you now?
I will be 45.
45. What do you want to contribute to tattoo and to art in the next 20 years? What?
Oh, Christ.
I know that's a big one.
That's a big one.
How do you think about, like, I think about legacy? Like, I think about what contribution I'm leaving, or do you just kind of get lost in it and use it as a way to express yourself?
Since you used the word legacy, that's tough. I know that I've made a lot of people happy.
Yeah.
And even when I'm physically no longer around, especially if they're younger, they are carrying a part of me. Anyone that owns any of my paintings now have a part of me. I think now, when I see what my daughter is capable of doing artistically, she's smoking me.
With pace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where she is at the age of 12 she's got her shit together. So knowing I guess the selfish part of me is like, oh, please let her see this through. Don't let this just be
a phase.
Don't let this become a hobby.
Right.
Take
it to the highest.
So that alone has brought me so much honor and pleasure that means more to me than anything else.
Itself.
Yes.
Yeah. What she might go on to accomplish.
Yeah.
The cool thing about that for me is that's the goal as a parent. The goal as a parent is to set up the life of the child to flourish, to
give them a better life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not necessarily an easy one, right? Because there's never going to be an easy one. But to teach them how to deal with things and to flourish as much as possible, and to see that, when I was younger, legacy to me did mean a lot more about self.
Of course.
Now it does mean a lot more to me about my children.
Yeah.
But I still feel like there's something inside of an artist, and maybe that's just the pursuit of excellence in general in whatever their art is, to leave some kind of impact, to contribute back to the community of art and the community of tattoo.
Right.
Do you think it's possible that you get to a point where you're satisfied with what you've done, or do you think that the mountain just keeps
I think
going?
it's probably something you can embrace on your deathbed.
Yeah.
I think that's when it clicks. If you're lucky enough to be on a deathbed.
That's interesting.
Not to be grim, but
that's interesting. Like,
I think everything makes sense right before you go.
When that moment of mortality is
if you go naturally, yes. Yeah.
Could art then be a way of, like, unconsciously dealing with your own mortality in a way?
Probably.
I've never really thought about that. Like the precipice of the artist happens at death, at the completion of their life. In that way, their life itself is a piece of art in some ways.
In a sense, yeah.
Do you think art is everywhere? Because I do. I feel like there's art everywhere.
Absolutely.
I feel like the guy that works on radios has some.
Who works on radios?
Well, nobody does anymore. But But you know what I mean? Like if you do something for long enough and you're fulfilled by it and you take pleasure in it, there becomes an art in it, in what you do. And you see that even with like YouTube videos of people on like job sites and brickwork.
Right.
There's art everywhere. And I don't think people ever look at it that way. Artists do.
Not in this country.
But you think maybe in other countries they look at it that way?
Yeah.
Like in what countries?
Well,
all.
You
but definitely Europe.
Like I think about it, and definitely Europe. You know, it's interesting. This country's only so old.
Yeah, it's very young. Yeah.
You know, and I've only been to Europe once. I was only 15. I went to France, and I wish I was much older, where I was an adult. But the ancient elements to it, the architecture, all that stuff, cobblestone, you know, the people respected what they did, you know, and that shows in everything. Yes, you can find that here as well.
Is there less appreciation for
art in this country?
In America?
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. It's a competitive country. That's why sports are embraced. You know, that's why, well, I believe, and someone can cross-check me on this, but I believe, didn't Trump squash the National Endowment of the Arts?
I don't know.
Yeah. I remember hearing something about that, but art generally doesn't get appreciated here as much as it does in Europe.
Do you think that's because of youth, or do you think that's a cultural situation?
Or maybe both? I would probably, I'm trying to figure that out, because I want to blame organized religion, obviously. You know, because to do God's job in creating, you know, some people frown upon that, if you think about it.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
It's such a weird.
But I also think when I think of fine art, visually, I do see a lot of nudity, if that makes sense. And this country is so repressed about sexually.
Yeah.
Europe, no, because people can see the art in that, you know. Maybe that's part of the reason why it's not embraced to that level here in the States.
It's strange to me that like America and people that are proud of being an American so often tout, you know, how open-minded and liberated and free they are. But so many elements of their thinking is tied by the binds of restrictive religion, government, and preconceived things. Well, Matt, I appreciate you talking to me.
I appreciate you, damn it, and all of you. Yeah.
What do you got? Like, what's coming up for you?
What am I pitching?
No. Like, they know where to find you.
Yes,
you're at the Platinum Rose Gallery.
I am at Platinum Rose Tattoo Studio, 600 2nd Avenue Southeast, downtown Cedar Rapids.
That sounded really good.
319-550-6186.
And email you.
What? Email me. Don't fucking direct message me on social media.
Don't direct message him. Don't be a. Before we go, let's talk about the.
Can we talk about the most difficult part of the job?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's get that
communication
out into the ethos, because we've talked about a lot of really fun stuff, but then there's morons that don't know how to communicate.
Yes.
And we've ran into
a couple tips. Couple tips.
Please do.
Yes. Email is always the best form of communication. I am not glued to my phone as much as most people are. So I check my email once a day at least, and I will get back to everyone within 2 days, depending on my day. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Not by choice, but for business purposes. Yeah. Anyone I need to stay in touch with in life, I do so. Do not send me a message through Facebook, please. Do not direct message me on Instagram. It even says in my bio, no DMs, but people don't listen.
They don't listen.
No, they do not.
They don't listen at all.
In my bio is my email address, the studio website, the shop physical location, a couple pointers when emailing. Please, do not put your entire message in the subject line. If you do, I delete it. I don't have the strength.
We got a mouth
Yes.
breather over here.
Yeah. The other thing is, if you send me an email which is rhetorical in nature, where there is not a question asked, I am not going to respond. Okay? Don't check with me the next day or, I don't know, 30 minutes later and ask, did you get my last email? If you email me, I email you back. If you email me back in 2 minutes to continue the conversation, that's for texting. And that's why I don't give my cell phone number out to most clients. Be patient. Patience. Okay, that's just my bitching about it.
Well, no, it's good things come to those who wait.
Yes.
And I had a friend actually here in the gym, and she's like, hey, I reached out to the Platinum Rose like yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how long? And I'm like, hey.
Well, yeah, if you're reaching out to the info at Platinum Rose Studio, it's going to go through Josh, and then it's going to get handed down to Taylor, and then figure out who they're looking for, what they're looking for. So,
but the cool thing was, she was like, I don't care. Like, I know that they're busy,
right?
But like, I know what they're working.
If you know, if they're, and that's another thing, folks. When you come into the studio, say you're looking for a tattoo, and we ask you, who are you looking to get tattooed by? Because usually people are coming there with an objective, and they just say, oh, I don't care, whoever. If you don't care, then I don't want to fucking tattoo you.
Yeah.
Right,
well, that's fair.
And maybe it's just your shitty choice of language too.
Well, let's, I mean, even if you take all that out, if you don't care that much, then you can easily go to the person with the least experience.
Yeah.
And they can tattoo you and get experience doing it.
Yeah.
And anybody at the Platinum Rose is competent enough to do basic tattoos.
Of course.
With great success.
Right.
So here's my advice as a non-tattoo artist and a non-artist, but a tattoo client to the people that might be getting tattoos. Do the research on where you're going, which involves being willing to pay the money to get the shit that you want. Don't pretend like you're going to get that really fancy artwork that you saw in the Great Tattoo magazine for a $50 minimum. And
you're going to get it today.
Right.
Don't expect that.
Go big or go home. And the reason that I say that is I've went small and then wished I didn't.
And not every tattoo has to be large.
No.
But don't let society dictate what you do or how you do it. Don't let mom and dad dictate it. If you got to hide it, we get that. But don't make it so small that you can easily hide it. With the, don't get it on your inner lip so you can hide it. Don't ask for black light UV ink so you can only see it at a fucking rave.
Check this out.
If you got to earn this shit,
and
you got to be proud to have this. If you're just getting something to kind of test the waters, it's not a good idea.
Well, and that's the thing about the tattoos that you guys put on me. So with the Origin project, you had when I walked in there that day, you had this like paper model of my body and how you were going to lay this tattoo outline on me. But because it was on my whole body, part of it had to be blended and melded together.
Right.
The end product looks like a tattoo that I was basically born with. Okay. Like it was a part of my physiology, my anatomy.
And I'm glad to hear you say that, because that was three minds working. Yeah. Which could easily be a fucking mess.
Yeah.
But I think we all spoke enough.
We're just honest.
We're on the same page.
Yeah. And that leads me to the bigger part, or the third piece, outside of doing the research, paying the money, going big and going home, whether that's physically, conceptually, whatever.
I know where you're going with this.
Where do you think?
Trust your artist.
Yes.
Okay.
Trust your artist.
Yes.
Give your artist at most concept. At most concept ideas. This is who I want to honor and why. Let them have artistic discretion.
Yes.
Artistic discretion. Well, don't insist. You're not an artist. If you're an artist, fine. Draw the shit up yourself. But if you're going to somebody and you're going, I trust you to put this on me. Listen to what that person says and don't make too many demands about what, because then you're not going to get the highest expression of that artist. You're going to get whatever they can do with your shit insisted upon.
Yeah. If you are direct an artist, you're setting yourself and them up for failure.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think with the Origin project, a half suit, I said like, the universe, life, and like intelligence, and you guys made this whole seascape or universe panorama on my body. And how much of that did I insist upon? You actually had more questions for me. Hey, do you?
Well, that's one thing I'm really guilty of is when someone comes in for a consultation or something, you know, they pitch the idea. It's like, okay, cool. And I always want to go a little deeper so I don't feel like I'm duplicating a Pinterest mindset.
You're right.
You know, and I'll ask them questions, like a lot of questions, because it'll help me visualize more as to what's in your head. And sometimes they look at me like, shit, I've not put enough thought into this.
Right. Yeah.
Why is this stranger hitting all these points that
because you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I've made enough tattoo mistakes for myself. I don't want to be a part of anyone else's.
Sure.
So I'll push you to think, you know, because I can't get into your head.
Yeah.
You know? Well,
and then this will lead then to the last piece for me. Don't be the person that comes in with a fucking paragraph of tiny little I need this, and I need a stopwatch, and I need a rose, but it needs to be red, and I need this, and this has significance. Like, let them decide some sort of flow. Don't try to jam your whole life into your bicep.
I've gotten some emails where
I've read them.
Oh yeah,
I remember. I remember.
But I've had to copy and paste them into word processing just to do a fucking word count on some of these.
Wow.
I'm like, shit, I didn't write this much in a college paper.
And you can't. How can you even?
Yeah, and God bless, or whatever you want to believe, my clients. I've been asked, you know, what's the best part of the job, and it's the clients. Yeah. And what's the worst part of the job? It's the clients.
I suppose. Yeah. I can relate to that.
And if someone hears this that has done this, I apologize, but don't take it personally. When I get that email, and when I could swipe a couple times, I'm like, oh fuck, okay, hardest part of the job. Go to the beginning. Hi, you know, so and so sent me or whatever. I really love your work. This and that. Here's a little background. I don't ever want to see that phrase. Don't start background. A fucking email with, let me tell you a little bit about myself. You know what? It's not going to help me design something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could just imagine.
Stick to visuals. I'm a visual animal. So stick to visuals. That's how you can communicate with an artist. You know,
that makes sense.
Like there'll be times I'll have a consult and I'll be trying to describe what I envision, and they're looking at me like a deer in headlights.
Well, you can't.
Just give me a fucking pen because 2 minutes, I can do a rough sketch, and that says more than whatever I can.
I say universe. Yeah. I see one thing.
Right.
I tell you universe. You see maybe a completely different thing. Mm-hmm. When you guys were telling me about this, I was like, this is going to be awesome. The first thing that I imagined was not nebulas. I didn't even think about nebulas. And then...
Well, otherwise it's a lot of fucking black.
Well, right. Yeah. Well, right. But in we talked about this too. Some of that deep black is what's fascinating.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, shit, the universe is alive with color, with the whole spectrum, with all of these different colors. And then you guys manifested that in a way with this tattoo that I, a non-artist, I couldn't conceive of it. I couldn't see it. And even after you did the outline, I was like, what the fuck is this going to look like?
We didn't know either, dude.
Right. But you had some kind of idea of where it was going. And I didn't, because I remember you guys would finish up these dual sits, which were just, they were horrible.
I'm glad we stopped that.
After 65 hours.
Dude, not only, it's not that I just felt bad for you, but it's impossible to get into a rhythm, which
it's tough.
As a client, you can't get into a rhythm because you're always looking for that predictable respite. And jerk off number 2 is still tattooed. You know,
I remember the long where like Josh would be shading something,
Yeah.
and you would be lining something or something, and I'd be going just that. You know, there's a meditative rhythm.
Yes.
Na 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 na. Wipe.
Right.
Na 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 na. And I can kind of get into a
Yes.
flow.
Yeah.
When it's na 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 na.
Yeah.
Na, 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 na. It's like, holy shit, when is this gonna end?
and
It is about 3.5 hours.
And I hope Mr. Fields doesn't read into this, but he and I are two different. Our approach to tattooing is totally different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Josh is more of a physical being, you know, so he moves a lot when he's tattooing, and he's moving you. And I'm like this mouse down by your feet. And I'm like, would this guy stop fucking wiping so aggressively? Oh, bless you.
Thank you.
You know, so, and I remember,
well, you're just working. It's so close.
And someone once said, I wish I knew what tattoo artists, I don't want to name drop if I'm wrong, but talking about a collab back piece with the guy, he goes, it fucking sucks. It's like a couple stealing the covers from each other all night long.
Sure. Yeah.
And yeah.
One person's
so yeah, after we got through the first 65 hours, it was like, let's just go back and forth. It's just,
and that was welcome on
I think everyone's part.
But there was still something about that process, the collaboration, and even if it was just the pain in just getting through that. And there's something that it's one of the experiences in my life that I really value the most is there is something unspoken and really speakable about that kind of connection between the artists and the person. And to have two artists that I really respect working on me at the same time, it was horrendously painful. But I remember it. You know what I mean? I have fond memories of going through that process, painful as it was, and getting it done because of some of the conversation and stuff that we had. It's like we've talked about while on the chair. It's not just the tattoo; it's the client relationship and the experience that you have with these people, I suppose. Okay, cool. Matt, we're 1:45. We'll actually end the podcast now.
Sure. I'm outie.
I appreciate you coming in.
I appreciate you, dude.
It was fun learning a little bit more about you.
Yes.
I'll try to get Josh on here too, and sometime in the future. But we've got another sitting coming up here soon.
Yes, we do.
And I'll share that with the tattoo world. But I want to thank you for being a friend.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for joining me and talking about kind of your journey as an artist. I love talking to people who consider themselves artists in different arts because they're all exactly the same shit. The journey is the same journey, and that's why I think there's art everywhere, and everybody should get involved in some form of art, even if it's a hobby. Even if you're only going to dedicate 10 hours a week to it, get into it and express yourself.
Yeah.
Awesome, brother. Thank you.
Excellent, my friend.
We'll talk to you soon.
Ciao.